And we are going into Krakoa as the bands are starting to file in.
Yep. You know, thinking about Imagine how they normally play, very classic meta approach. You know, general poke, perhaps gets Shizu up in the sky on a flare. You know, we see them on Storm as well as the Human Torch. But so far, it has been their playstyle as we move into those picks and bans. Very similar. Nothing too special from that perspective. Loki ban. Loki has been a classic kind of ban right off the rip, right? The God of Mischief ultimate, being able to replicate any free ultimates at their whims and fancies, just maybe too much to bear.
Yep, as we say that, both sides are going to ban that Loki. Both sides also going to take away the Luna Snow. Another great strategist that has been very, very popular, very, very strong in the current meta with the hit scan potential, with the Fate of Both Worlds, just providing a ton of value for any team operating with that character. But unfortunately, that will not be the case as XBE opt to lock the Cloak and Dagger over what we've been seeing some teams do is lock the Mantis.
Yeah, that is an interesting pick. Might be a comfort pick from that perspective, right? Just wanting to play around with kind of these two characters to flip back and forth with a powerful Eternal Bond, might I add. So, okay, Black Panther off the record. We were talking about off stage as well, where I think you saw BP being banned out on the North American side might be a very targeted pick from that perspective. Wonder if Imagine have done their homework.
We'll see though, as Imagine are going to not have access to that Black Panther as we do wrap up the picks, bans, and locks, as Storm going to be the final ban for Imagine to prevent these flyers from doing any sort of work. As Krakoa still also one of those maps where there's a few teleports, but it allows for more repositioning, allows for more of those silly plays that you could probably pull off. But for now, we will see, as we are here yet again at the site of the Hellfire Gala for the final series of the night.
Yep, the final domination match that we'll see today. I know Twitch chat is going absolutely bonkers for reasons I do not want to stay on stream just yet. We'll have to wait and see what they actually choose. But I like the ban from Storm, right? Like, we've seen Shizu take to the skies way too many times. That might be a personalized ban from the side of XB against Imagine. And so, you know, might want to hop to another sort of duelist. We see Shizu now on the Bucky, to say the least. And chat, just stay calm as now we move into, you know, that Captain America Emma Frost composition on one side and double shields on the other.
XB cooking up a dive composition right now, but who is really diving who? As Imagine dive towards the back line of XBE thanks to the portal, as Kale waiting for an opportunity to strike, uses the clones thanks to the Emma Frost team up to try to disrupt any sort of play, but Kale is the first to fall instead to the hands of Imagine, as the rest of Imagine will just force their way into the site. Imagine whips out the shotgun, will find himself the second elimination of his match, as everyone else of XBE just providing the cover. Imagine with 3, Shizu with 1, and KNRT.
Oh my gosh!
Just staggering.
Oh, nasty!
As
nasty
XBE
work.
need to run. Yeah.
I love what Imagine cooked up, right, Kurt? Quick teleport. You know, XBE were kind of fragmented moving on to that point, so that's exactly when you want to spring your trap and fire things through. And Imagine, namesake of the team, doing so much work on it. Punisher was not banned out and has received a substantial buff throughout season 2.5. So back on the site we go, covering by these two, you know, shields, taking all the brunt of the work. But it's gonna be Adam and hopping onto the the Doctor Strange themselves, trying to make some work. All eyes on Kale to maybe disrupt this backline as well.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates available from both sides. Final Judgment going to be used, but is the DPS going to be enough? It will be enough to take out Beans, but it doesn't seem like it'll be much more unless Adeline goes down. Decapitate will follow up, so will KNRT, and everyone on XBE get wiped yet again.
Oh my gosh, it's just so coordinated from the start. Imagine, I feel like XB had a chance. They're sitting on a lot of ultimates themselves, and the question is, do you burn all of them? That's not the wise thing to do. You want to be able to take the right approach and stagger your ultimates through and through, and hopefully leave maybe 2, preferably 3 for the next team fight. And Imagine's doing the right thing. They're pushing up so far forward, and the back line is now being contested.
Yeah, great Feral Leap being used by Beans to try to find an isolation as Elixir going to pop the Psionic Seduction. It's going to land up to everyone! A multi-man stun! But is it going to be enough for XBE to clean up house to secure this point? Or do they risk themselves getting shut out? It's looking like it'll be the latter, as the Psionic Seduction that was perfectly placed, but it's all going to be for naught as Imagine just going to push on forward, and it's all desperation now for XBE as they try to find a grip onto the site, but Imagine will not give it to them.
Oh, clutching at loose ends at the moment. Beans doing the best impression of a sushi chef. Will find Kurt, and that might be the start of a resurgence here as Imagine comes out. It's gonna be the final judgment to be able to barrel down so much damage, but Eternal Bond with the sustain from the backline. Adeline, I have Agamotto coming in hot, clutches a couple of players and will be able to wipe up, and suddenly XB feel like they're coming back with a bit of vengeance.
There we go. That's more like it for XBE. They're able to find the site. They're able to find control, albeit for just a bit. As Imagine, they have ultimates to work with. They have the Eye of Agamotto. They do have the Meteor as well. But XBE, they also have tools and resources for themselves. Shizu adjusting to the Human Torch.
Taking to the skies is important at the moment. Right? Not a lot of defensive ults that Imagine can put out to get themselves on a side. That's the difference here. So strategists will have to do their best to maybe work their magic. The kidnap comes true, sustained though, so not much happening. Kayle will have to back out of there in the last possible moment. And that's gonna be Kayle immediately being taken out by Imagine on this high ground.
That was just a random spray that was going to result in a pick for Imagine as more trades are coming in. Big stun coming in for Beans, is able to quickly come up with a double as no more is Imagine, as he also lands another Feral Leap to the skies. As XBE, they're doing it. The comeback is real now.
She just thought they were safe. They're like, nah, you can't touch me. Nah, Beans proves them wrong time and time again. We've seen Feral Leaps come up from nowhere, leap 4 stories, and take down flyers like nobody's business. But we're back at it again. Alts refreshed just a little bit. Adeline, a few percentage points away from an Eye of Agamotto just coming on right now. Might be key. But if Imagine can get on site with some supernova action, that might be the key to break opening this defense.
If Adeline is able to use the Eye of Agamotto right now, that might be the game-winning move right now, because Imagine, they're still charging up their ultimates. They're still trying to get them online. Here we go. There's the Eye of Agamotto, but it's not going to land onto anyone. And that's going to mean, Imagine, have a chance in this fight. Can they win this out? Shizu is able to spot out the Psylocke, but the final judgment, is this going to be perfectly timed, or is it going to be all for naught? But it looks like it'll be good for Imagine, as 2 quick eliminations in their own favor make it a third. We hit 99-99, but it looks like Imagine might be the ones to get triple digits first. Unless there is some resistance coming in. Great last stand going to be used, but it's not going to be enough. Imagine, it got a little hairy towards the end, but they were able to recover and secure round 1.
Yeah, a desperate dance of the butterflies right at the tail end to stall out the overtime, keep that sliver of yellow bar in the works. But ultimately, it was for naught. Could not do anything further. The adjustment from Shizu onto the Human Torch was beautiful. You know, once again, that general poke, that one flower high in the sky. Imagine doing so much work with their shotgun, with their final judgment throughout the points. Were able to shut things down. But I gotta hand it to Beans, right? Just had some power plays of their own, the Wolverine, with some beautiful last stands. But you know, you can't necessarily just rely these wins on solo hero plays, right? It has to be the whole team coming together. I want to be able to see more from Kale, Elixir, and Adeline as well.
Yep, we're gonna have to see as we head into round number 2. Everyone playing with their tournament lives on the line, and that is exactly the case for both of these teams. A best of 3 loss here would mean most certain elimination from the tournament.
Where's the teleport?
Here comes the teleport from Imagine, using the turret to just create that zone in favor of Imagine, as they are able to touch site first, and they should be able to take control until XBE finally managed to get onto the site. There's the Eye of Agamotto, but it's only going to land onto 2, and it's going to result in Beans getting taken out of the fight for now. Psionic Seduction forcing everyone to run for cover as XBE looking to take early control.
Unfortunately decapitated pretty early. So Imagine are looking like they're scrambling for answers. They're kind of spread across this entire map, and the Eye of Agamotto done proactively to be able to take some shots here. And it's gonna be Imagine on that final judgment, just barreling down bullets across every single one who's willing to meet up with them. Eternal Bond to be able to sweep and provide some sustain. So nothing just yet, but it's gonna be Adeline finding their first KO. Venus as well as Beans being taken out, and suddenly it's still up for grabs. Mind you, the site hasn't been converted until this very moment. Looks like Imagine are gonna be able to take this back.
Yep, Imagine finally almost took control, but they haven't done it just yet. I think Imagine are playing too far forward.
They forgot about
Will this cost them?
Okay.
That's gonna be like, I think that was like maybe 5-10 seconds of precious percentage points that Imagine could have been able to pick up, but now they are able to start charging up that site. Will it cost them in the end? It might get a little concerning, but we'll see about that, as the final judgment is going to be popped by Kale. There's the meteor onto the strategist. Decapitate is able to find that pick. No more heals available for XBE, which means everyone will fall.
Beautifully done. Honestly, like, you know that they're weak because Imagine had already popped their final judgment, so the chip damage must have come through. And honestly, Decapitate just let go of that Meteor M so quickly. Normally you want to charge that meatball up just a little bit more, but you know, that fast release, catching that backline unaware before they could scramble out was the key to the success here. Now XB have regrouped for their second attempt to maybe contest this side. This is the do or die moment. They have to clock some percentage points.
They do have a little bit of time to work with, but only a tiny bit, as they're going to reposition to try to get out of the line of sight of the Punisher turret from Imagine. But looking at the ultimates, both sides have 3 ultimates apiece. There, it's the kickoff as the Dance of the Butterfly will find Ice Bear, and the rest of the team cleans up. XBE need to find the control. You set this, they need to go now, and they will do so with relative ease.
Relative ease indeed. Not too many ultimates consumed either, which is the important part. So they're gonna be able to at least give Imagine a fight for their money come their, you know, resurgence onto this point here. And I'm looking at least Ice Bear on the side of Imagine to lead the charge. High ground is their advantage. Imagine can, like the player Imagine, can set up their top side with a couple of shields to maybe gun down their defensive structures of XBE, and Shizu will be able to take first point. Nope, just dodging, ducking, and weaving around this, and finally using Eternal Bond to sweep and push XBE back, but they have no response of their own.
Yep, Shizu trying to reposition. There's the Eye of Agamotto onto 2, but so far no one goes down just yet. Kale's health bar just fluctuating from low to high, again, as everyone piling in their ultimates. Demise is able to find one. Beans will follow up with another. Elixir and Kale will clean up the rest, and somehow XBE are able to come out on top.
They used a lot of ultimates. They consumed, I think, 4 at the least to be able to 4. Just to be able to keep hold of this, and honestly it might be worth it because they're matching the percentage point for Imagine right now coming into this fight. High ground didn't quite work for them, so readapting to this mainstay here, but it's gonna be Beans with a bit of poke damage around this flank. Honestly, a deadly Psylocke, a lurking Psylocke is deadly.
The lurking Psylocke is definitely deadly indeed, as the Eye of Agamotto is going to land onto 2, but there's just no other value until KNRT will be the first to fall in this next fight. XBE, they now have the lead right now. Imagine, they're starting to fall apart right now. Imagine needs to go crazy here as Imagine pops the final judgment, needs to creep on forward, but Beans is undetected, unscathed, unwavered from any sort of aggression as a desperation TP comes in as the Feral Leap trying to buy a bit of time, but it's not going to be enough. Beans is just absolutely doing the hurt, doing the damage, and XBE might be able to steal round number 2.
And the body blocks were at the tail end.
Oh my gosh.
The body blocks were too long, plus a Feral Leap at the last possible second to deny any entrance through that portal is what seals the deal. We're going the distance.
Oh my goodness. Both of these teams, they are fighting for their first win in this best of 3 series, and it all starts with a game 1 victory, and both teams are clearly playing to win right now.
Yeah, it's a banger. You know, it's a when you know your lifeline is hanging on a thread, you play your heart out. You play your heart out. You flick heads like you've never flicked before, and this is exactly what both teams are absolutely running. Beans taking the mantle here for the side of BeLikeXBE with some beautiful lurks, undetected like you call it, like the ninja that they were designed for. And so we go again, map 3.3, my apologies, as we try to figure out how to adjust. No adjustments on the roster just yet. Did we see a teleport early on? Nope. As both teams opt to basically slow walk their way and maybe contest that high ground. No, that backside. They want to take that backside duel, both of them.
Yeah, Imagine don't have to teleport just yet. I would assume XB's Doctor Strange also doesn't have to teleport just yet, but they will find each other, like you said, in the backside of the map. Here comes the mission area opening up, but the opening is going to be Beans with the Dance of the Butterfly, but they're not going to quite find any value just yet. Everyone piling in as there are ultimates from everywhere. Here comes the Meteor. It's going to land onto Kale. That is an important one to get, denying the final judgment from taking out anyone on Imagine. And they will be able to slowly but surely secure the point as a multi-man Eye of Agamotto. It will be used, but the invisible domain, the invisible boundary is going to be enough to keep everyone alive as Imagine are looking to clean up house.
Clean up house, get a few percentage points under the belt, and it all started with a beautiful choice of where to throw that Meteor M. Decapitate, waiting for Kale to pop, you know, their final judgment, and was able to isolate in the midst of all this pixel and chaos, find their target, find their mark, and stop the destruction as early as can possibly be. And then after that, it was all cleanup crew for the side of Imagine as XBE try to figure a way back onto the site. Imagine making it painful, pushing through these double doors as much as possible, almost getting KRNT down to low health, but the sustain from the strategists are enough.
Yeah, for now, it's just a bunch of poking and prodding for the time being. Imagine have control of the site. 30% already on the way as Beans doing some damage on the side. Silent Seduction is going to cause some problems for Imagine if they want to position accordingly. It does stun up a few members, but Imagine still holding strong. No one going down just yet. Beans wasn't quite able to find a player of Imagine in the red. And they will have to settle as they do charge up their ultimates for just a bit longer. Here comes the final judgment. We'll find it on to Decapitate. Great tracing coming in. We'll find another. But can he get more? He's looking like he will, as a quad will come in for Kale as Imagine gets shredded to pieces.
The revenge coming out from Kale. Absolutely gross, right? Decapitate coming out with their own Meteor M. Kale shutting it down with their own final judgment. It could not have been written better by the by the script writers at the moment. Absolutely disgusting work coming out from Kale, doing what bullets do best as the teleport. Nope, they just... Was that a teleport? Yeah, it was a teleport to that backside. Bit of a switcheroo from that perspective, as Imagine want to take the fight here. A lot of protective grounds, which is why you want to play backside at the moment. The slam dunk, but Kurt manages to get out of there, coming out with an eye up. Agamotto themselves can't find any value. It's gonna be Imagine with a final judgment of their own, but no, the sustain coming from the strategists are way too strong at the moment.
Yeah, here we go. There's the fight, but Imagine are going to get stunned up by the Eye of Agamotto, but there is again a barrage of strategist ultimates to keep everyone alive. So these game-changing ultimates not going to do a whole lot, but somehow Vexus is able to find a pick onto Adeline. The silence conduction is going to be used, but again, another one of those huge game-changing ultimates that aren't going to get any sort of value. And now Imagine and the rest of his team are looking to get a pick onto Beans, and for now, the zone is there. Kale on the side, but he's remaining undetected for the time being. Will show himself now as everyone trading left and right as who will fall, who will be the first piece to fall. Elixir finds a pick, finds a second, finds a third. Beans will find a fourth, and everyone Imagine go down, and it looks like XBE are going to secure game one.
Decapitate on the Venom. Do they have a teleport? Can they get there in time? 99% they have to touch. Unfortunately, nobody is close enough. Nothing within their arsenal will be able to get them and force an overtime. And the reverse sweep comes true here. Holy!
Oh my goodness. XBE somehow, some way are able to secure game one. And that is a great advantage in favor for XBE as they move on into game number 2 with a 1-game advantage, and that's going to be a comfortable position. As Imagine, they know it was in their grasp, they knew it was close, but in the end they have to go back to the drawing board. They have to figure out what map do they pick for this map number 2 to have the greatest amount of advantage.
Yeah, and even before that, I'm also thinking, well, after that, I guess after the map picks, but also in terms of like, how do you want to ban, right? We've seen Kale step up as the in-house duelist, doing absolute work with a final judgment, right? And 13, final hits, 25 KOs to boot. Imagine taking the cart within their realm to push it along this Midtown convoy. And, I wonder if XB have that under their repertoire as well. Yes, it is a very well-known strat to hold that first push, but the question is, can you execute it well, right? Can you provide enough sustain? Can you provide enough stagger? We've seen teams try to put it with like triple vanguards pushing out, but they couldn't get their timing well enough to like basically touch point fall back, and basically stall that cart out. And if you don't get even the simplest of timings done well, especially with Loki being banned off right off the rip, those clones from Loki are so crucial for stalling out that early cart push. It's gonna be a lot harder.
Yeah, so far, yeah, that's gonna be very, very difficult. But for now, we are going through the motions of the picks and of the bans and walks. I'm sorry. So far, everything has been pretty much the same from game number 1. Like the Cloak and Dagger getting locked in favor of XBE, Black Panther going to get banned away on the side of Imagine. And so I'm pretty sure it's been the same from game number 1, but
it has.
Yeah, going beyond the bans, it's just a question of Imagine. They did pick to attack first when they played against MVNE yesterday, and they're going to do the same here. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer and see how Imagine take on the defensive side. Will they do that first? Will they do that small confined space control that other teams have been doing with varying levels of success? Or will Imagine go for the comfort play of taking to the skies like we've been mentioning before? But for now, we have to see what XBE decide to opt for. No Penny just yet, or any sign of Rocket. So we'll see how XBE want to take on this defense.
It might be possible. Triple Vanguard is still a very viable option to maybe push out. We saw an attempt, you know, from the side of, I think, Assemble Fire. Yep, I think it was Assemble Fire from that last matchup. But you know, only time will tell in terms of execution. You know, I talked about it. Timing is of the essence. You have to have a very well-oiled channel of communication between 6 players. And mind you, like I struggle to talk to a single person. Now you're trying to talk to 5 others. This is gonna be a bit of an uphill battle. But this is it, ladies and gentlemen, gamers and grass touchers. This is it for the side of XBE versus Imagine. This could be it, mind you. Imagine have to be able to push their way through this convoy and get themselves a map 3, or else it's nil 4 for them as the fight goes on. We see the defensive structures being taken once more as the push and pull back and forth from the Vanguards is kind of effective, to be honest. You know, Imagine doing their best to be able to spam through with the turret from spawn, but right now cart's still being stalled.
Yeah, triple Vanguard going to be the choice for XBE on the defense, and it's so far proving to be successful as Beans is able to open up the feed with a pick onto Imagine, as Kale is the sole duelist on the team of XBE, as the Moon Knight adjustment will be quick as the Hand of Khonshu is available. When will he use it? He's gonna pop it immediately, but as soon as the invisible boundary pops in, and that's a quad, making a penta for Shizu, with the Moon Knight quickly adjusts to a different character. They already got through that first area, that first line of defense that XBE had set up, but the Imagine are quick to adjust.
This is exactly what Dopamine or Assemble Fire, one of the two, did as well on the previous matchup, right? To be able to take that, and now the sudden teleport from the back. It's gonna be Earthbound, but the Judge, Jury, and Executioner fight is beyond the battles. The Omega Hurricane just raining and wind up along everyone. She's gonna find Beans, a crucial Vanguard pick. Fish going down as well. Something to sustain from the side of XBE is running thin, running out. And Kale out of the question as well. Adeline fighting for their lives. Nothing more they can do is Imagine keep that cart chugging along.
Yeah, great play coming in from Imagine there, using their ultimates to their advantage, and are able to get a slight advantage for the time being. XP do have both their Vanguards with ultimates available. Adeline actually opts to not pop the Clobber in time, instead switches over to the Doctor Strange for the cost of their ultimate, as the turret will just rain down fire, rain down that suppressive bullets coming in, as Imagine trying to do his best, as a great last stand lands onto 3, but Beans isn't able to finish any of them off, and that's going to signal a continued push for Imagine.
That's quick one for Adeline, right? Just get it out of the way, die on point, and then be able to resurrect with the rest of their team. Bring the heat once more. XBE looking to try to answer back. This second point is always a bit tricky. It can go either way. Do or die moment for either of these teams at the moment, as Shizu's taking to the skies, trying to figure out if they can work anything. Beans on the Wolverine, perhaps looking for a steal at some point in time, but it's just the suppressive action is so strong.
Steal. It was a good try. That was a good try. But Supernova is going to be popped by Shizu. But immediately there is a response with the invisible boundary. But Shizu pushing forward. Same does Imagine. Imagine, they're doing it. They're pushing far and quickly towards that second point, and they may not have to deal with the constraints of the final stretch of this second point.
It's kind of terrifying at the moment. They're trucking along so fast. They're at 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Ample time to be able to move on to that third checkpoint and apply pressure onto XBE, which is exactly what XBE are trying to do here. The isolations from KNRT with the group wall just able to perhaps funnel some of the pressure coming out from Imagine, doing work though, but it's gonna be Elixir with a bit of focus fire, shutting down that turret to say the least.
Yeah, has the fully charged left click available. Kale trying to do the damage, but the silence reduction on the side of Imagine works to disrupt everyone on XBE, but it doesn't look like they are going to waver away from a quick team wipe.
Okay.
For XBE, and they will hold for just a bit longer, but they have to do so for another 3.5 minutes.
Feels a bit more alive here as they grab that cart for the first time here in this convoy map. They've got the high ground advantage plus an invisible shield, just letting KO be an absolute threat from up above as the rest of these vanguards take the heat. Shizu's trying to make their way out of, and using this invisible boundary will get all the space that they need. Strangling Prison as well. Cat's one.
Oh,
will be able to eliminate Elixir immediately.
Oh my gosh, and the rest of Imagine, they take advantage of that man advantage, as Imagine just going to shred the vanguards to pieces, as him and the rest of his team are looking to cross into that third point, already halfway there. And they just need 1 or 2 good fights, and it's going to be 3 for Imagine.
Yeah, you know, the turret setup on this cart, so powerful as well. Everyone's on that low ground. Oh wait, one flanker I think on the backside. I couldn't tell who it was, but it might be Beans. But it's gonna be,
oh my gosh,
once again,
look at
the
that.
fight of the Punishers.
But oh my gosh, wait, Shizu is trying to take out the final judgment, but instead randomly finds a pick onto Beans on that Wolverine, as Shizu will get traded away. But for now, the advantage is in favor of XBE. They are doing what they should be doing. They need to defend. They need to keep going. But now the timer, now down to 2 minutes. Final judgment available for Imagine, but there are resources available for XBE if they want to keep this fight going for just a bit longer. There's the Eternal Bond. Kale going to reposition. There's the last stand, and is going to land onto one of the strategists on the side of Imagine. Beans still in the back line. A great stun coming in from both ends. But it looks like XBE, they look to hold, but for now it's an even trade. Both teams still at an even playing field, but XBE look to defend for now.
A minute and 10 seconds. Final corner around with respawn advantage for the side of XBE to get back into the fight. Looking at a couple, you know, Kale, once again, these Punishers being an absolute nuisance here on their turrets, on their final judgment to be able to mow things down. Imagine's not on theirs just yet. It's going to be Kurt with the Strangling Prison perhaps to start things off. He started out, but steal and the dice onto KNRT immediately just crumbles the attack from the side of Imagine.
Yeah, that is a huge pick to get. KNRT also used the Strangling Prison, but there was just no value out of it. And now XBE with more picks, more staggers coming in, is just gonna burn the timer of the Imagine. Strange TP should be available, and they have to use it. 20 seconds left on the clock. Imagine if they want to go for this third point, they have to pop off now.
They have to pop off indeed. High ground, KNRT on the Doctor Strange to be able to flood down and touch the point, and now it's all a barrage here on this.
Oh no, wait, yes. Elixir is able to find a pick onto Shizu. That's a quick pick, and it's going to put Imagine at a man disadvantage for the time being. Everyone on XBE trying to gain as much ground as possible. Keep your eyes on Demise. Has the invisible boundary available. Beans now has the last stand, but look at the ultimates available on Imagine. They have their own counterplay as well. Adeline going to get stunned up, but the Maelstrom of Madness will find one, and another melee will find two. I have Agamotto. Might be a little bit overinvested, but it's not going to matter, as they are going to be held down at 2 points. XBE, now it's their turn.
Now is their turn indeed. Just holding off that final third checkpoint was the side of Imagine. Oh, they really worked that through and through from that perspective. And yeah, it's gonna be now on the flip side, no chance of overtime, to be honest, on this Midtown Convoy map. I'm looking at some of the options that they can play. We've seen Beans doing absolute work on the Wolverine, maybe hopping off to that Psylocke, right? Shizu with the tried and true and trusted flyer high in the sky with those fires barreling down. We haven't actually seen, you know, that Storm come out. I feel like the Storm team up, Dan, is kind of dope. Kind of OP, if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But from what it looks like, I don't know if both these teams are gonna opt for it just yet. Imagine now on the defense, but
yeah, no kind of stronghold that we talked about.
Yeah, they weren't able to hold very well, at least against Marvel Vietnam the other day, and they are going to do the same formation that they did in yesterday's match.
So many
Won't take control of the first floor of that building. Yeah, and yeah, the layers of shields available for Imagine to keep that turret alive as long as possible. Will it be enough? We will see. As Imagine now look to be on the defensive side. Decapitate gets shoved away from the high ground, forced to use the CC invulnerability to reposition himself to safety. Kale adjusts onto the Hela for that extra hit scan power as he's just focusing down the DPS. The damage duelist of Imagine is able to find a pick onto Imagine, the main mascot of Imagine, but Kale is not stopping. He's just gonna keep going. More damage, more hit scan, more pain for XBE as they are looking to push much further. A great head dink will force everyone away on the side of Imagine as they are forced to reposition, forced to reconsider their options. Eternal Bond is available for Ice Bear, but the Invisible Boundary going to be the immediate response as both teams have both strategist ultimates available to them. Kale finding another pick onto Imagine, who adjusts to the same character that got killed off. Kale is just going to do absolute work as the Eye of Agamotto lands onto 3, but it's not going to quite get any sort of value thanks to the Eternal Bond, just keeping everyone alive. Beans doing the work, doing the damage, doing the slashing, and is able to help XBE, his own team, move on to that first point.
What I thought was 4 minutes and 30 seconds was incredible for a side of Imagine. It's just firing back right now. For the side of XBE, they're looking like they're going to push through a bullet train, to say the least. Imagine now on the Hela, and Beans just doing work on the Wolverine.
There's a little bit of an awkward view.
Yeah, that was. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
We're gonna assume that there was. We're gonna go under the assumption that there has been a bit of a lag situation, but for now, both teams, great shield coming out from Elixir to deny the Goddess of Death. Actually, it was Decapitate. I'm sorry, had it mixed up, but Imagine trying to find an opportunity to deal some damage. So will Shizu with the Supernova, as Adeline is stuck in the corner, needs to get himself out to safety. Will do so, gets himself into view of his own strategist to get the healing and resources he desperately needed, as Decapitate is able to find a pick onto Kale. But for now, Imagine are looking to hold for just a bit longer. They need to hold way longer, as there is still 3.5 minutes left.
Indeed, right? Just round this ticket booth goes the way of Feral Leap coming out. Maybe could not find any sort of grab, as now the side entrance being contested. Decapitate doing absolute work as well. I think they really want to come in with the Psylocke Seduction being caught off, and it catches a few members here. Absolute destruction, but it's going to be, I believe, the Eternal Bond holding them back. Now Decapitate with their own Psylocke Seduction. Hell is firing from
the combo.
Above. The combo wombo plus the Eye of Agamotto means Imagine has free reign over this battlefield and sweep up against XBE. Imagine hold the fort.
Great combination of ultimates. Elixir popping the Psylocke Seduction, top it off with Adeline with the Eye of Agamotto, just to lock everyone down and allow Kale to just get full value out of the Goddess of Death. And it's just going to be enough for Imagine to hold off the push for a little bit longer. XBE, they need to look for a push. They need to look for it now. And they decide to teleport into the faces of Imagine's high ground advantage. Can they burst through? Can they do it? So far, not looking likely at the moment, as Kale and Demise are the first to fall on XBE. Will that be the domino effect of everyone else going down? Yes, it will.
In the chaos of it all, the Supernova thrives in this sort of messy, scrimmy plays, and that's exactly how Shizu helped just perform all that chip damage, including getting one of their own. So once again, time is a running. You know, XB aren't chugging along on this second phase as fast as Imagine did on theirs, and they need to turn around in. Mind you, I remind everyone that they have the advantage, and Imagine want to bring us to a map 3, which is starting to look like the case unless XB bring themselves into a bit of a difference here, trying to shoot the flare out of the sky, bring it along. Last stand is available for the side of Beans, who have done his absolute work on this.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to find an important one. There's the kidnap. There's the last stand to further bring the Strange back to his own team. Demise is able to finish it off. And XBE, this might be the first time they look for a very, very good push, as the Eternal Bond is going to expire, going to force everyone to Imagine to back away. They don't have these strategist ultimates to keep the fight going. So XBE are able to just take control, take as much space as possible. They have Demise with the Invisible Woman ultimate available to them. When will it be used? That is the main question. But the stun onto the backline is all important, as Demise isn't able to get the invisible boundary off, as XBE are going to get stunted right here for the time being. 35 seconds now.
They have everything. They need to run this. The stagger is so big from the side of Elixir, from the side of Shizu onto Elixir. A crucial Vanguard out of the mix. 25 seconds left. Adeline perhaps with a teleport. I'm not quite sure, as Kale is starting to make their way onto the site. It's going to be a defensive teleport, maybe to confuse and bamboozle this attacking XBE, as they won't be able to at least get on the site, hopefully.
There we go. There's the invisible boundary. That's going to allow the team to move into the site. Just at least have it touched. They will seize early control, as Imagine trying to do what he can, trying to find the picks what he can as possible, but the trades are just there. But it's right now in favor of XBE. Overtime meter still alive and well, but it's gonna soon expire if XBE cannot find the ground, cannot find a grip, and it looks like that is exactly what's happening. We are going to map number 3.
Holy, Imagine's map pick comes true indeed. You know, they chose this yesterday against MVM, didn't fare so well, but here they're looking coordinated and they know how to fire back. A few adjustments onto the Hela and adjustments onto like that early Moon Knight pick right off the bat when they were on their attack side to be able to break that triple Vanguard hold round the corner. I mean, this is the map we wanted to go the distance here, and I feel like it's every single map so far. The first domination was 2-1, now almost going the distance, definitely going the distance with the map 3.
I think because we are going to a map number 3, this might mean that both of these teams are now officially eliminated from playoff contention. I have yet to see a confirmation from anyone, but for now, that seems likely because we are going to a map number 3. Both teams on your screen, Imagine and XB.
This convergence, the second one of today. And I think we're having a little fun here looking at the hovers from the side of Imagine.
I would imagine so. Both teams, maybe they got the information that they're eliminated, maybe not. I have no idea. But for now, the bans are going to be relatively the same for the time being. Yep, Loki, Magneto, Luna, Emma Frost, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff here, on that symbiotic surface. I feel like, we've seen Venom once, a few times, especially on that first point contest. And I actually like the way that this first point contest can be worked so much, right? Like, we've seen, obviously, teleports from the backline coming in. We've seen the offensive take the right corner and make their way up through a series of intricate tunnels and bridges that are formed, end up at that backside without a teleport as well. So a lot of creative ways that they can work around the map as well. You get your classic full frontal, you got your defense taking up the mantle just a little bit in front of the point to make it more expensive for the attackers to get to the point. There's a lot of ways that I like the creativity that all these teams have to maybe dance around this first point here.
Yeah, we'll see how both of these teams decide to operate their team compositions. But for now, a little bit of a change coming in for XBE. We'll ban out the Human Torch. And now comes the option for a lock on the side of XBE. What do they want to go for? It's going to be Cloak and Dagger. It's been their regular lock, to my knowledge, for XBE. As we slowly but surely make our way to this map number 3. As the BP will be the final ban. No surprises there.
No surprises there. Folks have done their homework and figured out what the opponent's real kind of stronghold footings are as we move into, you know, the symbiotic surface. XB on the attack, and the fact that we've got a Rocket Raccoon plus a Penny Parker gets me wondering why that might be just the case here. That's a very interesting pick. You know, I'm not gonna speculate. I'm not gonna speculate right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go off the assumption that both of these teams are just gonna use the team up ability to get as many armor packs as possible to get everyone.
I agree.
Just to give everyone that plus 25 bonus HP as they leave spawn.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
Maybe the defending side will operate on the Penny Parker Raccoon team up ability to try to just flood the site with those little spiderlings with the nests. They do have access to 2 of them.
Something else I think about as well is, like, you know, when you're on domination, some people play the Jeff early on because those bubbles do give you a slight speed boost, especially if you're not deciding to teleport in. I haven't seen that just yet, but would love to maybe get a hand on it as we go to the tried and true strat. For the side, I imagine protecting their player as much as possible and just raining down. Oh my dear! Just at the spawn of XBE as well. That's Elixir immediately taken out. But it's going to be a bit of a counterplay from the side of XBE with a teleport of their own, forcing Imagine off their stronghold position.
Yeah, and these teleports are just going to be proved to be disruptive as Beans is able to find a pick onto Shizu. As more trades coming down left and right. Beans doing more work, trying to find another pick, but can't quite do so just yet. Is able to reposition with the invisibility. But more trades going down as Imagine and XBE just trading again and again. That's been a recurring theme of this entire series. It's just a series of trades until one is able to find the advantage over the other. Great shot coming in from Shizu to shut down Demise as Imagine is just able to rain down hell in the middle lane as he's able to pick up a double.
A double indeed, and once again, you know, that final judgment, so powerful, can reset themselves. We now see KNRT on the thing. It's very brawl-centric. You can really get into the mess of all these things as long as the rest of your backline can stay alive with these structures around the peripherals of the point. Like, you're Gucci. You're all good. You can let the thing run around, swing those hands, trade those punches as well. It's eyes on Beans, to be honest, but we start off with an Eternal Bond just to be able to take off this site, as well as KO on the final judgment, just barreling down. We'll be able to find Imagine and Beans on the back line, shutting down the strategist, to say the least. Venus out of action, and finally it looks like XB are looking and struggling, but Shizu with 2 of their own. I have Agamotto on the site.
Yeah, so far looking good for XBE right now. They're starting to slowly take control of the site. And for now, it does seem like Imagine will concede.
I suppose that helps.
Do they hop on Kurt back on the... No, sorry, Adeline. I was looking at Adeline. My apologies. But nope, they're not going to be able to really work that just yet. Kurt now back on the Doctor Strange. Looking at the clobbering time ain't enough, as Imagine with their signature just bullet hell. Couldn't find any value, but it does force a lot of people from the side of XBE off these sight lines. They're still going to be able to dance around the card and push this through. It's going to be this top corner that's going to be so crucial. The slam dunk comes through, and Decapitate responds with one of their own. Beans and the backline slicing and dicing, but the invisible boundary will sustain all of these players. And Elixir will drop as well as Adeline. This judgment is too much to bear. Finale just raining everything on this.
Yeah, Imagine able to get a quick triple. KRNT just teleported just to join the team. It was really weird. It was really weird there. You just kind of just showed up. It was just like, hey, what's up? But anyway, Imagine we'll take control yet again for just a bit longer as the 3-minute mark is crossed for XBE to try to get as much control as possible. Needs to go the distance, but this area of the map is very, very difficult when you're on the attacking side. And it looks like XBE are doing a good job as Fish is able to find a pick. Kale is able to follow up with another value ultimate out of the final judgment. Shizu is able to find one. Ice Bear is able to take down the other. And now it looks like XBE looking to take control as Adeline trying to push forward, has the Maelstrom of Madness, will find that pick. KNRT trying to punch the wall to just get himself out of there, but can he? So far, not looking good, as the Eternal Bond is going to keep Adeline and the rest of XBE alive, and it's going to be another press coming in from the team of XBE, and they just want to just take control, just dominate over Imagine.
They know they could have the advantage, and the KNRT just couldn't get that wall broken in time. Now Elixir will do it for them, but it's only just to be able to give a bit more angles for the attacker side to be able to take that. Can they touch? They can't. They arrived just out of the nick of time. Venus a step too late will get punished for it. So will Imagine. Imagine the team themselves run, fleeing, tail tucked.
Yeah, they need to keep running. They don't have their full team, and they won't do so for a couple more seconds as Shizu in a very, very difficult position. It's just going to hide out, wait for the rest of the team to arrive. But it's all looking like XBE right now as Kale able to find out Shizu, and the stagger nightmare just keeps on going for Imagine. And they need to recollect themselves. They need to group up, or else the stagger will just keep on going. Here comes the final judgment. The invisible domain is going to buy a bit of time as Kale is still trying to do as much damage as possible. Beans just peppering down, poking everyone on Imagine down as the Eternal Bond is going to be popped, as well as the combo with Imagine as a quick triple going to be picked up.
Finally, from the side of Imagine, they stabilized just a little bit after a bit of a very, very heavy staggering happened right at that tail end of phase 2 into phase 3, but they stopped the cart at 113. Not sure if that's going to be enough as XB kind of regrouped, to say the least. Being still holding on to that Dance of the Butterfly, not opting for a flank just yet. Might work, but oh my gosh, they have their eyes. Agamotto comes out, the dash comes out as well just to evade this. I don't think it hit anybody, but it's gonna be KRT dropping to Elixir right off the bat, and suddenly XBE look like they're gonna press W once again.
Yep, that is exactly what they're doing. Elixir is threatening the Psionic Seduction right now. It's a matter of when will he use it. It looks like it'll be used very, very soon, as Adeline is able to find a pick onto Decapitate as Ice Bear goes down. Shizu as well, and an Eye of Agamotto into the choke point is going to be devastating for Imagine as they just aren't able to secure that point. And it's going to be 3 on the side as we do swap over. And now it's going to be Imagine's turn on the offensive.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I felt like it was a bit of a a snowball effect, you know. It felt like they were just pushing along. I didn't quite catch the timing right at the end, but it felt like we had minutes on the line right there. And even with that final judgment, final judgment being popped out by the Punisher, could not even get themselves back on that cart to delay the inevitable. I feel like Kurt might have thrown just a little bit, you know, pushing out with the Eye of Agamotto. Maybe thought that they could get an early pick right off the bat, but you know, I felt like there was no follow-up from the rest of the team to be able to capitalize. Great blocking from the side of Adeline as well as Elixir, and then KNRT just went down like a rock, unfortunately. So before you knew it, the staggering came true, and Imagine found themselves up against a 3-0. They're gonna have to fight their way back once again if they want to be able to make themselves into an overtime situation and bring the fight. It sounds like a record being played over and over again, but these teams, they're going the distance here.
4, 3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
And now here we go.
To the mission area.
It's overtime or bust for Imagine right now. And what is the plan coming in? Are they going to avoid this mid lane completely? That might be the case as CanRT is leading the charge. And
Yeah, you have to imagine that Kale's doing the same thing, you know. Kale's doing the same thing, which they are. They set up with an insane kind of stronghold position with the turret. And so, you know, leading the team goes KNRT to destroy these walls and get some sight. Hopefully force, yep, the bridge was triggered. They want to force the high ground off from the side of XBE.
Oh my gosh, but XBE, they're not gonna give them any room as both Emma Frosts on both teams go down early. It's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade overall. Kale is just peppering down everyone on Imagine. Shizu is going to be the first to fall from the barrage of bullets from Kale, as everyone on XBE just pushing on forward, trying to stagger Imagine just a little more, but they're not going to be given that opportunity.
No, smart move from the side of Kale to press forward along with Adeline, right? You want to be able to have, beans, having a bit of a beautiful dash and reset. The right and left clicks mechanically gifted to shut down Shizu once again. Imagine find themselves in a player deficit, and the deficit grows wider and wider. Now 3, 4 there. Non-stop goes XBE. You want to be like XBE? Emulate them today, right here, right now.
And then they didn't have to invest in any ultimates there.
No.
Everyone on XBE still above 70% or higher. So they're in a huge advantage right now. Imagine they do have ultimates of their own, and they're going to try to use that thanks to the teleport coming in, as Decapitate will lead the charge, but the main focus is Ice Bear and Imagine with the Eternal Bond into the Final Judgment combo that we've been seeing all series long, as the Eye of Agamotto not going to be popped. It's not going to be popped. Imagine are going to push into the site. Is there any resistance from XBE? Elixir has the Psionic Seduction available, but will he use it? Will he not? That is the question, as Elixir is still holding on to the Psionic Seduction. He might be the only person remaining on the site. That will be no more, as the first point gets secured for Imagine.
And the desperation teleport comes out, but unfortunately Aiden couldn't get a step through, and the point was converted over. Imagine finally converts the static point, move on to the cart phase of this convergence. Right now, setting up that high ground. Kale receiving so much support. Alright, this is the Punisher meta. This is the poke meta we've been talking about. And when you have double shields and an invisible woman kind of a barrier as well, you want to invest everything you have for your Punisher and your turret.
Yep, and the push continues for Imagine, already crossing the halfway point. After this first point, Decapitate will pop the Silent Seduction. So will everyone else with their ultimates. But Imagine quick flicks onto a double, make it a triple, as everyone on XBE are forced to stagger away, run for the hills, as Imagine will make great progress towards that second point.
They really are, and they have to at least hope to meet that 55-second mark as well. I think XB are going to have time to touch this. They're going to come in strong. No ultimates to lead the charge, but Vanguard's just to maybe take the heat. And 3 meters, no. Okay, just at the final second, it's going to be Adam taking that top side. And as well as the dimensional, the invisible dimensions, just to hold things off. But both Punishers popping their outs, just trying to get, and Kale will drop
Kale goes
eventually.
Down.
Beans in that back line, Dance of the Butterflies won't find any value. No, scratch that. Venus is off the charts. And XBE will be able to clean shop. A Hail Mary from Shizu with an Omega Hurricane will be able to at least get one for their troubles. But is that going to be enough? No, not today. Not for phase 2.
2 minutes left on the timer for Imagine now. Quick check on the ultimates. XBE have 2 of their own for now. If they want to use that for a fight, now would be a perfect time.
Yes.
But for now, KNRT is close to the Eye of Agamotto. Ice Bear close to the Eternal Bond as well. So from what it looks like, that opportunity will not be given. But for now, here we go. The Silent Seduction is going to land on everybody of XPE, and everyone will just fall down. I think Vex's Imagine just conceded. They knew the fight was over, and they just waited for their inevitable death.
Yep.
To
the wise
reset
thing
and
to do.
group up with the team.
Wave that white flag, get the restart early, reset early. A minute 10 left. KNRT looking for a bit of a push onto the high ground. The turret is ready for the barrage as in we go. The invisibility catches and forces XB off this site. Imagine back onto the cart. I'm looking at Adam with the Eye of Agamotto as well, but the counter comes out. No value whatsoever.
Somehow there was no value out of that, but there's a multi-man stun coming in for Adeline. He's going to pick up a quad as the rest of Imagine need to run for the hills. What a Eye of Agamotto coming out of Adeline. He's been pretty quiet this entire series, but finally he has his moment.
He has his moment indeed. This will be the final fight. 20 seconds left. And no dive potential, no teleports whatsoever. They just need to barrage their way onto the point here. Leading KNRT with the charge, the thing, making their way around this corner. This is the smart move to do.
10 seconds left on the timer. Imagine if they want to get the second point, they need to move now. They will find an early pick onto Demise. KNRT onto the thing, is able to clean up house, and Imagine they answer the call. They're able to secure the second point, and we go again.
Wow, the one punch on to KL Beans taken out as well. No one there to stall out that second phase, that second checkpoint, and once again we go on to this third phase. Oh, a minute 20 seconds left. They have to push it into overtime to keep their dream alive. And it's honestly a dream in terms of just ego at this point in time, because these teams, they're back and forth. It's been trades after trades, but they want the dub for themselves.
It's all gonna matter here as KNRT getting dangerously low is going to get enough bonus HP to work with as Kale able to find one. Can he find more? Yes, he will. We'll find 2 more, maybe even 3 more, maybe 4 as Imagine is just going to land in the hands of Kale as Kale is just able to clean up yet again. These Punishers are putting on an absolute show.
Yeah, Punishers living up to the name and punishing like nobody's business. And now, once again, down to the wire. 30 seconds left. Imagine only with a Cosmic Yarn to deal with. Perhaps if Shizu can get an Omega Hurricane, can disrupt that back line, but that's a big if.
Big question mark indeed as the timer yet again. 10 seconds left for Imagine. XBE, they just need one good fight and it's all over. So many ultimates being dumped right now. There's the CYA on the side of Imagine. They need to push. They need to go now as the Eye of Agamotto going to stun up so many members of Imagine yet again. That's 2 down on Imagine. XBE still alive and well. Still cooking Imagine. And it's all over. The time runs slow. The time runs out. And XBE will take game 3.
Imagine really trying their best to imagine up a universe where they could win a dub for themselves, but unfortunately it will not be today. Today we will all be like XBE and celebrate their first dub here in the group stages. And ultimately a trade back and forth, really going the distance almost the whole way, almost giving us an overtime here on this convergence map, but it wasn't meant to be. You know, so much great plays coming out from side of Adeline, from Beans, from Kale, from Elixir, and honestly, everyone knew their win condition. Keep the Punisher alive with shields and heals for as long as possible. Get their ultimate up as quickly as possible, and then unleash everything onto the opponents.
Yeah, well played, honestly, from both sides. XBE and Imagine putting on a show. Like, this is what we wanted. This is exactly what we got. And overall, just an absolute treat of a series this was to top